Warning, the following content includes flashing lights, spoilers, and jump scares. Other than that, enjoy the video. Welcome back to the twisted world of Bendy and the Dark Revival. Today I'll be going over chapters 2 and 3, reviewing the game, rating it based on the 3 methods: design, story, and characters. This chapter starts off with it asking you to get drawings for the man inside the door. Once you get them, he attacks you, but you are able to defeat him and go through the door where you find your next quest. Throughout this part of the chapter, while you collect the drawings, the ink demon comes and tries to get you. I really like how it tells you the ink demon is coming and that you should hide in something before he comes. Unfortunately, this time I did get jump scared because I didn't know what to do, but I think that's a cool little thing they added. So if you're confused on what's happening during this part, basically I didn't really know that I already got the 5 drawings, so I was just walking aimlessly trying to find the last drawing. And yeah, I never ended up finding any other drawings because I already had them all. So I just walked around wasting 2 hours or whatever much time it was.
Thank you very much for your help. The name's Porter, by the way. And who might you be?
Audrey?
Audrey? Audrey. Nope, don't like it. Doesn't suit you. I'll call you Bobby.
Huh?
And to say thanks for your feat of rescue, here's a little gift. Something I've learned. There we are. It's passed on. Now, you can move like me. Goodbye, Bobby. Try not to die.
That was weird.
So eventually, you get past the door by putting the drawings up, and you find this guy through Animation Alley that gives you a power that'll let you teleport across the cracks in the ground. This is useful, letting you go past the part at the beginning of Animation Alley and get closer to the elevator. Unfortunately, it's not going to be that easy. To open the door, you need to get the electric charged pipe, and to do that, you have to go through the locker room and get to the upgrade station. When you get the blueprint, you'll go to an upgrade station and upgrade it. This lets you power up the jet pipe so you can open doors you wouldn't normally be able to open. Unfortunately, it does have to be charged using one battery, but it's not that bad because it doesn't take too long. So eventually, when you get to the door, you open it and you walk through these hallways, eventually reaching a big kind of break room area where the people could sleep and could get coffee, just a bunch of stuff in that big room. Once you get to the artist rests, you find out that you have to go find the keys, and you go into the lost and found, where you go through the little hatch to get the keys from the other side. But when you're going out, you encounter the ink demon ripping apart a locker, and he starts chasing after you. You have to go back through the little hatch thing. I just thought this was one of the scariest moments in the entire game. I failed the first time. My heart was beating rapidly. I almost died there, and yeah, it was just insane. So once you activate the platform, it starts moving, and after it starts moving, you're supposed to go down to the coffee shop. Once you get on top of the coffee shop, you then go on top of the platform, which then lets you go to the part of the hallway that leads you to the elevator. I think this is a pretty cool puzzle. I didn't really get it at first, but after a few tries, I ended up finding out how to beat it. You end up walking through the hallways for a bit, and it's a bit unnoticeable, but once you get a little bit of the way through, after going through a bit of the hallways, it turns into Chapter 3. And so that's a wrap for Chapter 2. Now onto the rating. Alright, so let's hop into the design. The design in this chapter is actually surprisingly good. They had a lot of things added that weren't in Chapter 1, which I appreciate, even though the style is going to be the same throughout the whole game. So, you've got all of the gent machines, including the gent upgrade stations, the gent power-up stations. I think these are really nice, and I appreciate how much detail they added into these. And even just the gent doors, the electric-powered doors, are really cool. All of the ink splatters are different from the first game, which I appreciate a lot, because you'd expect it to be mostly the same, but it still shows that everything gets upgraded throughout the cycles. And I think that's what's cool about this game. No matter how many games they release, technology gets better in the real world, and then it gets better in here. It just makes sense. I like how much attention to detail they added. And the briefcases, all of the cutouts, it's pretty good. For overall, I'd probably rate it a 8 out of 10 for design, because they could have done more on the side of like little objects. It was mostly just big things that would be used about the game, but I feel like they could have used story specific ones for this chapter, and they didn't really do that. So 8 out of 10. Now on to the story. The story in this chapter is pretty good, having it mostly based around you still trying to get to the elevator. But it did add in a few areas that made sense. And first off, I thought that getting the drawings for the guy was pretty cool. He left his drawing in the studio and he didn't want to go out because he would get caught by the ink demon, which I think is a pretty cool story element, that they are all scared of the ink demon in the ink realm. And also, the artist rest, I think it's pretty cool. All of the walkers walking around that might have been sleeping in the capsules I think that's a pretty cool thought. And I like how all of the different audio logs are set up to solve the puzzles, all of the studio memos, all the audio logs. I just think this is a really solid chapter. And I think there could have been a bit more. There are only really 2 main sequences. The one with Porter and the artist's arrest. So overall, for story on this chapter, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Alright, so now on to the characters. So there are 4 main characters in this chapter. First off, we've got Audrey. Audrey is still pretty good. I think she had a little bit more this chapter and really kind of understood what was happening this time. And I liked that because it was different from chapters 0 and 1 in the way that she actually understood the story and understood what she had to do. And then next we've got the Ink Demon. So I think the Ink Demon is so cool in this game. All the dialogue he has trying to persuade Audrey into joining him, I think he has a really good story, and his character is set up exactly the way everyone pictured him in the first game. Then we've got the walkers. There were a few good walkers this time, like Porter and the guy inside the door. And I think, so first off, I'm going to say the guy inside the door is the second best walker in this chapter, because he has a little bit of a story. He left his paintings or drawings in the studio, and he didn't want to go get them because the Ink Demon was out there. And I think that's a pretty cool story. It doesn't go into depth about him, which I like because it doesn't need to. That would just be unnecessary. And Porter, I think there could have been a little more about Porter. I'm really sad that we didn't get to see him again throughout the story. But I like how he added a mechanic to the game and kind of let us have a new thing to work with. So, yeah. Overall, for the characters, I'd rate it an 8.5 out of 10. They had some really good characters in this chapter, and I really like how they played it out. So, an 8.5 out of 10. So, now for the overall rating. This was a really good chapter. I really liked it. I really liked all the new mechanics they added, like the chargeable gent pipe, or the flow ability. It was just really good, and I really liked how you had to go fetch the drawings for the guy in order to get into the door, and he still attacked you. And I really liked the Porter, all of the characters that they had, the guy that talked inside the speaker of the audio log that kind of explained the artist rest's whole area. They did really good on this chapter, so I'm going to rate it a 9.5 out of 10. Alright, here we go. Now it's chapter 3. So, in this chapter, it starts off with it wanting you to go into the elevator. But once you go to the elevator, the ink demon is there, so you have to hop in a little miracle station and then go into the elevator. But a keeper finds you and ends up sending you down. And once you're down, you have to fight with a bunch of these Bendy spiders. And after you beat the boss battle, then you have to go into this gent tunnel sort of place. And once you go through the gent tunnel, you'll end up going through a few hallways and finding a big city of ink. And that's where chapter 4 starts. So once you get to this spider part, a bunch of spiders jump at you from these little ink eggs. And this part is really weird. And if you're scared, if you have a spider phobia or something, I would not recommend playing this game. This part was weird. I did not like it. But it was still pretty cool. So when the spider fight is over, you end up walking through the hallways for a bit, and you find a speaker where you then talk to Alice and Angel again. Alice basically asks where you are, and Audrey just says, I don't know. Alice says, I'm gonna come find you, and Audrey just walks away. And we end up finding little Bendy again, which is pretty cool.
It's dark. And I don't know what to do.
Wait there. I'm coming to find you. Just don't move.
After you walk through the hallways, eventually you find Joey Drew, and he explains a few things about the studio and how he's trying to discover all of its mysteries.
I believe there's something special in all of us, especially you, Audrey.
Who are you?
Don't you know me? Take a good look.
Aren't you?
Joey Drew? In the flesh. Well, so to speak. Come on up. little walk. There's something I want to show you. There you go. Follow me. But mind your step. This old place is full of surprises. I should know. I've worked here a long time.
Mr. Drew?
Joey, please.
Joey, what is this place? The studio? These monsters? Am I dreaming?
It's a cycle, Audrey. An ink-stained nightmare, forever stuck on repeat. With just a pencil and a dream, and with a little help from the Gent Corporation, it came into being. This studio is a monument to choosing the wrong road. Now, whether it was built for revenge or regret, I don't know. That's my riddle to solve. The truth is, Audrey, someone out there is messing with what's in here. Bad things have begun to emerge from the puddles. Wicked creatures that never came from my pen. The worst ones call themselves keepers. Dangerous, deadly folks. They've taken over the old Gent workshop just beyond the sewers, trying to bring what they call order to this world, freezing the cycle in place, changing the script. Whatever answers you're looking for, you'll find them there. Look, above all, never forget. You're here for a reason, Audrey. There's always a reason, even when you can't understand it.
You made this world. Why can't you fix it?
Because I'm not the man. I'm just the memory.
In this part, you go over to the switch and pull it. This opens the gate, revealing a tunnel which they supposedly used to get between the Gent building and Joey Drew Studios. While you're going through, you meet this guy named Lord Amok, who apparently some of the walkers follow and worship.
Behold, the stranger is upon us. Kill her. Kill her now!
once I defeated Lord Amok, I became the new Lord Amok, and I went back to the secret room, where I then got a lot of coins. But I went past that, and eventually got to the next part.
Hail Amok!
Once we flip the switch to unlock the barrier, we then go through the pipe, and the pipe leads us to this ladder, where the ink demon starts talking to us.
Before the end.
What in the world? How big is this place? Oh, it's you. Where did you come from? Look, I'm sorry about earlier. I didn't mean to hurt you. And I really don't think you want to hurt me either, right? Good. Let's be friends then, okay? What do you say? You and me? Awesome. Maybe you can help me. I'm looking for the old gent building. What's wrong? Is it a bad place? It's okay. I won't let anything happen to you. We'll go one step at a time. Just you and me. Let's see what we can find.
There we go, chapter 4. So this chapter ends off with us going through the hallway and eventually finding the glass window, which we can look outside to see the big city where the gent building is. And just like that, it's time for the ratings. Alright, right into the ratings, we've got design. So this is one of the craziest chapters for design. So you start off with the ink demon at the start, in the elevator. And then once you get in the elevator, it sends you down to the spider cave. I really like this part, and I think the design for the spiders was so freaky. It felt so real to me. It felt so weird and so scary. It was crazy. And then you have the pipeline. The pipeline is pretty cool. It's mostly the same stuff. I mean, we've never really seen anything curved like that in Bendy. And next up we've got the city. The city is probably the coolest part of this entire chapter. It's insane how they managed to put in that tiny glass box, illustrate a whole city. And I feel like it would have been kind of better if we were able to explore the city, but I'm not complaining because it looks really cool. So for the design, I'm going to give this chapter a 9 out of 10. One more thing about the design though, Joey Drew looks so cool. And I really like how they put this guy that we've never seen before. We've never seen him in an actual form, an actual human form. And we got to see him here. And I think that was a really cool addition to the game. And now on to the story. So the story of this chapter, the keepers who see you in the elevator, I think it's pretty cool that they're kind of like all-knowing in the way that they sense you in the elevator and sent you down to the spiders. And the spiders, I like how they're kind of realistic in the way that they go into deep caves, deep dark caves, and hatch an eggs. But the big spider, I don't really understand why he's there. He just kind of appeared out of nowhere. But it's okay. And next, you walk along and get to Joey Drew. I think Joey Drew's story is really cool in this game. We don't really know about him, and I think that just adds an extra element of like what he's doing here, his relevance in the story. And he also says he's just the memory, not the man, which makes sense because this ink world is all fake. Nothing real here, except the people. Some of them actually have souls, like Audrey and Wilson. But Others, like Joey Drew, are just memories of a person. And I think that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool idea. And then you walk along to the walkers, who call themselves the Amok followers, and they follow this guy Amok, who's just a random wanderer. And so I think that's okay. I kind of wish they would have shown up more in the story, because they were kind of unexplained. They were just sitting there. And then once you move on, you eventually get to the part where you go up the ladder and go to the window. The Ink Demon's dialogue is pretty cool in this too, because he kind of wants Audrey to join him. He's just constantly persuading her, join me or I'll kill you, basically. And I think that's pretty cool that the Ink Demon does have a reason for what he's doing. So overall, I'm going to give this chapter an 8 out of 10. I feel like there could have been a bit more with the Amoks, but other than that, it's a really good chapter. And finally, we've got the characters. So we've got quite a few characters in this story, starting with the Ink Demon. So the Ink Demon in this chapter doesn't show up as much, but that's kind of to be expected as we get further along in the story. So he's okay. He's still okay. He showed a bit more of what he wanted, but it's just okay. Then we've got Joey Drew. I think Joey Drew is a tremendous character for this story. It explains a lot about kind of what really happens in this fake studio, and that people don't always have to be real. They can just be the memories of something that once was. I also think that he was explained a lot, and I like it because it was kind of needed in the story for there to be someone that is there to tell Audrey about what happens. At the end, we also talk to little Bendy, who, as always, doesn't talk, but he's still precious, and I really like him. And the scenes where he runs away from us are really good. I really like them. And next up, we've got Lord Amok. Lord Amok, I don't really know a lot about him. He just kind of says, kill them. And we learned a little bit about them and how he's kind of the ruler of the people, at least the people who believe in him. And I think that's pretty cool. In the story of how the Lord Amok name gets passed down if you kill Lord Amok is pretty cool. So that guy's pretty good. And then at last, we've got Audrey. Audrey is good this chapter. She's actually pretty good. She understands a bit more, but the scene where she just walks away from Alice, who's talking in the speaker, I think that's kind of weird. I don't know why she did that. She could have just stayed there and waited for Alice. I don't know why she got so angry. I was kind of confused on that part, but it's okay nonetheless. And then we've got Allison. Allison just talks on the speaker saying, I'm going to come get you. She didn't really get a lot of moments in this chapter, so that's pretty good. So overall, for the characters for this chapter, I'm going to give it an 8.5. It really got carried by Joey Drew in the end. And finally, for the overall for this chapter, I'm going to have to give it a 9. That's a pretty solid score. But I just think it's a really good chapter in all aspects of it. In the story, the design, and the characters. I think it's a really good chapter. Unfortunately, that is going to have to be it for this video. I actually had a lot of fun making this one. I learned a lot of things like the fast forward. You may have noticed that I used that a lot in this video. And if you guys really liked the video, make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. And make sure to check this game out on Steam. It's Bendy and the Dark Revival. So, with that, see you in the next one. I'll make sure to post part 3 soon. See ya!